From VTV Channel 6 studios in downtown Vernal, this is Local Point with your host, Chris Piner.
Hello, I'm Chris Piner and welcome to Local Point, brought to you by Strata Networks. Let's welcome to the VTV6 studio, Tyson Smith, the Northeastern Region Economist here in Utah.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you here on
Thanks for
Local
having
Point.
me.
Now, we've done a show like this before with one of your colleagues who came out last year. We talked a little bit about the economy, and it was a little different that time than it is now.
That's true. Last year, when the Department of Workforce Services sent out a regional economist to kind of give you the rundown of what's been happening out here and what's likely to happen in the coming weeks, months, and years, we had actually seen a bit of a slowdown at that point. There was some caution that was being given to the community here that 2013 wasn't as robust of growth as we'd seen in 2010, 11, and 12. So there was a little bit of some headwinds. That being said, 2014, at least through 3 quarters, which is the amount of time we have data for, was looking much stronger. The growth rates were around 4% in both Uintah and Duchesne County. And so we had seen actually kind of a rebound in some of the growth. But the coming months and the end of 2014 will likely point us in a bit of a different direction.
Right, I think we're all feeling a little bit of that, and certainly an indicator has been the price of gasoline.
Yes.
Does that have any kind of, is there anything to that?
Yeah, there definitely is. So oil and gas prices on the crude level are definitely going to be affecting employment out in the Uintah Basin. As everyone knows, the Uintah Basin has a great set of natural resources that for the last few years have really buoyed the economy and actually driven the growth. In fact, about 22 to 24% of all employment in the county, in both Duchesne and Uintah County, can be attributed to oil and gas extraction. So that will have a big impact. Gasoline, crude oil prices really can impact whether or not it's profitable for companies to pull the gasoline out of the ground out here. Mm-hmm. That includes both the natural gas prices, which have been depressed for a little while, and now crude oil. So
it seems to be, I mean, in that industry, and I'm not in that industry, but I talk to people in it. We're surrounded by people. It sure seems to be flexible, for the lack of a better word. When the prices go down, they'll pull out. When they come back in, and is that common?
It depends. Each industry is different, and some can be more dynamic
Pull
than
up
others.
roots, but then come right back again.
Yeah, the natural resources will be here. That's the value of having something like that in an area, is that the natural resources exist and can be extracted when it is profitable for companies to do so.
Right.
The problem is right now, with gasoline prices, crude oil prices being around $50 a barrel, it's less and less profitable, and therefore some companies are putting a halting on hiring folks and cutting back on the amount of gasoline that they're pulling out of the ground. And so we're starting to see those effects. They can be somewhat dynamic because they can always come back.
And Tyson, is this nationwide as well? I don't know if you've got your finger on the pulse of the bigger area, but are we seeing this across the nation?
Well, certainly crude oil prices are affecting everyone across the globe, really. But for individual communities like the Uintah Basin, it can be potentially a negative thing.
Right.
For the rest of the economy, for the overall macro economy, it's actually probably a good thing in that the people are spending less money at the pump, and so they're able to redistribute those dollars into other types of consumption that might be more valuable to the economy. That being said, there's a lot of negative impacts of, especially at the state level, of low gasoline prices, whether it's the taxes that are gained from taxing the companies that are pulling the gas out of the ground, or just people changing their habits, and so it makes it less predictable.
Now, in your area, I mean, I really see you as a somewhat of a weatherman, you know, testing the climate. You could sense, or your cohort, your colleagues, could sense before when things seemed to be strong that they were actually tapering off. Are you getting a little bit of a prediction here for the foreseeable future for us?
Well, it's looking like from the data that we do have for the beginning of the year 2015 and the end of 2014, it is looking like the layoffs have started to occur across the board in the county, both Uinta and Duchesne actually, even stronger in Duchesne really. But one way that we're able to keep our finger on the pulse of the economy is through initial unemployment claims, and those have spiked by about 270% over last year in the first 10 weeks of the year.
Thus the Department of Workforce Services. I see the connection now.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about some of the things that are happening and some of the things coming up and what you might know, some things for our viewers. And we'll cover that in the next segment.
Great.
We'll be discussing some of the factors of this dramatic change here in the Uinta Basin in just a moment. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
With advanced all-digital cable television from Strata Networks, you can enjoy jaw-dropping digital picture on hundreds of channels, exclusive local programming with VTV6, and follow your favorite college teams in incredible HD on the Pac-12 network, all with no contracts, no costly equipment, and no dishes mounted to your home. For details, visit your Strata store in Roosevelt or Vernal or call 622-5007. Strata Networks. We connect lives.
Welcome back to Local Point. We have Tyson Smith here, the Northeastern Regional Economist, discussing economic trends and changes in our neck of the woods. Am I saying that right? Is that the right title? The Northeastern Utah
I'm
Economist?
the Southeastern Regional Economist. Our
directions were off.
Yeah, Eastern and then the Southeast. So I cover all the counties from Daggett County all the way down to San Juan.
That's quite a large region, and you had another section of Utah. We talked a little off camera about that. So you just might have.
Hopefully, I'll know a lot about
everything,
the state
whole
economy.
State,
that would be good.
And I actually, in all actuality, you probably do have a very good handle on the state of Utah. And we were touching a little bit on the nation's economy before, and that's, I imagine, all intertwined.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there is that old saying that a rising tide lifts all ships. I think in this case, it might be a rising tide lifts most ships. I think that economies like Texas, South Dakota, and then here in the eastern region of Utah, the rising tide that's occurring right now, not just from oil and gas prices being low, but just the economy seems to be picking up a little bit of steam in terms of employment, and I don't think that that's going to stretch all the way to the eastern region of the state at this point. We don't know exactly how long gas prices are going to be depressed and how long oil prices are going to be at these low levels. We certainly know that they are lower than they've been in a very long time. And the last time they were this low was during the Great Recession, which was more of a demand side issue where people weren't demanding much oil because they didn't have the disposable income. They decided not to take flights places or drive their car as much, those sorts of things. This time's a little bit more supply side. The OPEC countries are kind of the ones that are controlling how much crude oil is in
Are they kind of flooding the market? Is that what's happening?
That seems to be the case, and it doesn't seem like all of the countries in OPEC are on board with the strategy. So it's a handful of the OPEC countries that are flooding the market with more supply than before, and again, that's bringing the prices down a little bit below what their competitors would like, and that's partially the reason.
That's so interesting. I knew there was a national and international tie here.
Exactly.
What about we certainly see the growth, there's a visible growth of these new retail stores and food places opening up. That doesn't seem to have changed much, but we're also talking about a different level of income for these people.
Yeah, the wages are lower, and so that it'll reverberate through the economy a little bit there. As well as a lot of those jobs and occupations and industries feed off of some of the more, we call them basic industries. And it's industries that are export driven. And so that would be natural resources like the oil and gas industry, as well as manufacturing and some of the other industries along those lines, construction. And so those businesses will rise and fall kind of with the other bigger businesses. That doesn't mean that they're going to go out of business or anything of that nature. It just means that they're going to feel the effects.
Right.
It's going to reverberate throughout the economy.
We've seen a few of them close, but there seem to be even a few on the horizon ready to open and come in.
Well, and I certainly, I hadn't been out to Vernal for a couple years when I came out a few months ago, and I was blown away by the development.
It looks different, doesn't it?
Yeah, just driving into town was an entirely different experience. I was like, am I in the right city? So there has been a lot of positive development given, the boom that's happened over the last 5 or 6 years. So, so there's definitely some value there in that there's some good infrastructure that's been built.
I imagine all of us out here have some contact or acquaintance who has lost their job because they were in the oil and energy area and there were layoffs or cutbacks. You are from Workforce Services. I know this is not exactly your neck of the department, but what do they do?
So they cover all range of workforce service, training, unemployment insurance, any sort of food stamps, that all goes through.
So having them actually go to the Department of Workforce Services would be a great starting point.
Yes, anybody that's lost their job or is looking to increase their training, those sorts of things are things that it would be great to go to our website. Our website is pretty simple. It's jobs.utah.gov. So that gives you an idea of kind of what we're all about, and it's all about
jobs.utah.gov. It's about jobs that are available, but also about some of the stuff that we've been talking about today. It has a little summary or touch on the economy.
Yes, yeah, you can find all the information that we've been talking about, employment statistics, unemployment statistics, and that helps both job seekers and businesses alike understand the economy, what's driving it, what the employment outlook looks like. We have all that information, but then if they just need to apply for unemployment insurance, that can be done through our website as well.
And we should throw just a quick plug in for the job fair that you're aware of.
Yes, so Friday, March 20th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. There's a jobs fair that's going to be taking place at the Technology College, the Applied Technology College.
And that I'm trying to think of the actual airing of this. We didn't cover this off camera, but that may have already happened when this is airing. But if not, March 20th.
Yep,
right.
Exactly. But there'll be many more opportunities like that. The Department of Workforce Services is constantly trying to get employers and job seekers to find one another.
Tyson, thank you for coming down. And if you haven't moved on to another region of the state, then maybe we'll see you again another time here on Local Point. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Yeah. And that's all we have for today's show. Thanks for joining us. Remember to like us on Facebook for updates on your favorite VTV programming. We'll see you next time.